Good afternoon, students. In this session, we are going to continue with the functions. So, in the previous session, we discussed what are functions, how to call a function, and how to define a function, and how we can create a small program by writing a function. Now, the next topic is function with parameters. Now, what is this? What do you mean by parameters and why do we need it? So, first of all, let's understand that what is a function with parameter. Now, sometimes our requirement is we want to pass a function as a parameter. It means that within a function, we required a variable value to be passed. So as you can see in this example, I have created a function named product, and there are two parameters that I am calling. So here the data type of a parameter you have to mention. So that is integer A and integer B. So that is function with parameters. So we can write function without parameter also, and we can write function with parameter also. So I can write as many parameters as I want. Here in this example, I have used only two parameters, right? A and B. You can use multiple parameters as per your requirement. Now, when I talked about function with parameters, let's take a very simple example that how we call those. Now, first of all, we have function without arguments and without return types. So these are the different type of functions we can use in C programming. The function without argument. Can you see? This is the name of a function and it don't have any argument. Argument and parameters are the same thing. Some people call it as argument. Some people call it as parameter. So here we have a function without argument and function without return type. So here is the name of a function and there is no parameters or argument, and the return type of a function is also nothing. So we have write void product. This is how we define a function, we call a function. We will see step by step, but first this is how we call it. Now next, function without argument and with return type. So here I have a function called product, but there is no argument in it. But I have a return type called integer. So this function will return something, and what something? It will return an integer value. That is number 1, 2, 3. It could return anything according to my requirement. Next, function with arguments and without return type. So I can write a function with argument. Here I have written the argument also. 3 and 5 are the two arguments having data integer type, right? And this function will not return anything because I have written void in front of that function, right? The last part is function with argument and with return type. Now I have a function called product which has an argument as a 3 and 5. So I have two arguments to that function, and return type also, that is integer. So I have integer as a return type. So these are the ways in which in C programming we call functions. 4 different ways: either a function having return type, does not having return type, function having return type, does not have parameters, function having return type, have parameters also, and function does not have return type and does not have parameters. So these are the 4 type of the categories in which we can call the function. Now let's take an example step by step and move forward. First, let's see function without argument and function without return type. So here we know that we have a function, right? So first, in every C programming, when you write, you have to call the header files. So these are the header files. Now, first step is always function declaration. So here my function declaration is void add. What I'm doing, I am telling the compiler that in the coming program, I am going to use this function and the name of the function is add, right? And the return type is void. So function having no return type and no parameters, right? So this is the function declaration I am doing. After declaration, there is a definition. What function is going to do? So as per the name, it is adding two numbers. So what I have done is integer a, b, c, and I'm asking a user to enter the value of a and b, and then adding that value and printing that specific value. So that's what I have defined the function, that it will add two numbers and print the sum in the third. Right here, I haven't returned anything because void is my function return type. So it does not return anything. So then what I will do, first step is function declaration, second function definition, and the third most important is calling the function inside the main. So you have to call the function inside the main. So here I am using add, and you can call this add, and you are calling that specific function inside the main. So that is function without argument and without return type. So let's do this and demonstrate this with a online compiler. So here I'm opening my online compiler. So as you can see, whenever you open any online compiler, it will give you something like this, right? So from here, you can select the language. So I'm working on C. You can use any other language. The compiler I'm going to use in all the C programming is this. This is really a great compiler. You can also use this compiler. Now let's start. So when you use this, it will give you this basic header file and the main function. All right. So what I'm going to do is, first I need to do function with no argument and no return type, right? This is my first function. So what I'm going to do is, here I'm going to write void, and let's take the same example, name. So this is, I have called a function declaration. That is function declaration, right? I'm declaring my function in C that in the coming program, I'm going to use this function. Now, after function declaration, you have to write the function definition. So always write after this bracket. So main is a main function that we have already discussed in C programming. When you use main, when you run your code in C programming, the compiler will search for the main program only, main program function, main function only. So whatever you have to do, you have to write within that main program, right? So then I have to write the function definition. So let's, the name of the function is add. So here I am creating. So these are the minimum brackets that you always have to write, right? So let me take a simple program in which I'm adding two number and putting that into the third number, right? So printf enter the value of A and B, right? So syntax is very important. So you will write it like this. Then you have to scan the value. Scanning means you're asking a user to enter the value. So that's a syntax %d because it's an integer. So A and B, there are two values. That's why I have written %d two times. 1% for A, 1% for B. Why it's %d? Because it's an integer type, right? Next. And that's a syntax. If you want to scan a number, you always have to use add the rate. Means you are putting it in a memory. Somewhere in the memory, it's going to store, right? So it is storing in the exact location, this address, right? So that's a printf and that's a scanf. Now, after this, I am going to add the value of A and B, and I'm printing that value in C, right? So, sum of numbers, percentage, sum of number is C. That's it. So that's it. This is my function, which is asking a user to enter the value of A and B, and then adding that value and giving me the sum. That's called function definition. That what exactly I'm going to do in this function. Now, after creating a function definition, the most important part is calling that function in a main. If you don't call it, it will not run. It will not show anything, right? So you have to call that function in a main. Within this, I just have to write and that's it. That's called function calling. So the first type of a function, there are different categories of a function we can call in a C programming. The first type is the function with no argument and no return type. So here I don't have any argument as well as I don't have any return type of a function. So let me run that and we'll see how it works. So here, as soon as I run this, it will go to the main, and as soon as it go to the main, it will go to the line number 15. Here, it will search for add. And add, it will go and search for a function name add. And eventually, as soon as it reach add, it will come here. And then it will ask a user to enter the value of A and B. So here, can you see? It's a scanf. Okay, I've entered 2 and 3, right? And then I enter, the sum of a number is 5. That's it, it will and the function will work. This is how your function works, and we can use any name of a function. Here I've used void add. I can create sum also. So same function name with sum. And then let me do it for subtract. Subtract. So here what I'm doing, I'm just subtracting the number. So here, right? So I've used another function called sub, right? And I'm calling that function in main. So if you don't call it on main, it will not work, right? So let me see. First, it will ask me, will give me. Yeah. So see, if you can see, I have not declared that sub in the front. So I have not followed the protocol. That's why it is saying me that you have to define the sub, right? So the error you can also resolve like void sub. And that's it. Now it will not give me error. So accordingly, first it will ask add, then it will go with the sub and it will subtract the numbers. Whatever number I will ask, it will do. So first 2 and 3, that's my add. So it will go here and it is printing that and it will print the sum of numbers. So now next step is sum of numbers is 5. Can you see? Sum of number is 5. Now again, after this, it will go here in 17 line and it will ask for sub. So it will come here and sub it, and again, printf enter the value of A and B. So I can enter the value of A and B, 5 and 4. So the subtracting of a number is 1. Right? So this is how you can call multiple functions within a main program. But here my line of code is this only, right? So that it reduce the line of code and I can use this add and sum anywhere within that main function, right? So this is the type of a function that we have used, function with no argument and no return type. In the next video, we will discuss the second function. Thank you so much. If you like the video, kindly subscribe and share.